Good evening, all of you. I'm very glad and particularly honored that all of you took the time out and heeded my invitation and came here to honor me and Kumar and the rest of the founding group who are joining us from Atlanta. Mr. Sankaran, he doesn't know me from Adam. I wanted to invite him, meaning to meet with him several times, but I couldn't. But we went up and asked him to, invited him to be the keynote speaker for one specific reason that I've been noticing all his activities. As part of CII, I've been noticing all the good work he's been doing for skills development, and particularly in the area of education. So I thought it only fit that he represents the industry here today. Thank you, Mr. Sankaran, for being with us. We also have Professor Indiresan, who's been my friend, philosopher, guide, if that's a cliche. I mean each one of these words. Thank you, Professor Indiresan, for being here. He flew in only for this particular event. I'm glad to have him support this new venture of mine. I'd also like to welcome Ranjini Manian, who's graciously agreed to be on our Business Advisory Council. Thank you for being here. And for all of you whom I've not been in touch for a very long time, who took this invitation as a personal invitation and came here today. Welcome all of you. I'm going to briefly talk about how we came to be here today, okay? And then pass on to our friends in Atlanta, where a few others are joining us. Okay? As a matter of introducing the concept in the school, I thought it fit to title it the way I've done, let 1,000 business schools bloom. And by the time I've finished, you'll understand why even 1,000 won't be enough for this country. First thing, as most of you perhaps would know, I'm going to rehash some of the numbers, the kind of demand that India presents, not just in the matter of education, but it's true in every other field that we know of, but I'm going to focus on education. You know, this year, more than 300,000 students are looking for management education, making India the largest in the world in terms of management education demand as a marketplace, okay? And mark my words, in 2011, which is just 3 years or 2 years down the line, we will have 1 million candidates looking for management education. Okay, that's the power of people we have. But let's look at where we are in terms of being able to meet their aspirational demands. Okay, extremely limited supply. We have 1,500 plus schools that have been approved by the government, and only about 100 of them are of any quality that they get ranked in all the magazines year after year. So if you look at those 100 schools, they can meet only 5% of our demand, okay? And then if you look at all the 1,500 schools, they can't meet more than 40% of our demand, okay? Now, it's no wonder why, Mr. Simkin, you have all students lining up outside your office looking for visas, because we are not able to keep them here, okay? So hopefully this venture will keep some of that, trouble away from your doors. So the biggest challenge, as we see how do we meet this demand and supply gap, the biggest challenge is not money, it's not physical infrastructure, it is just purely professors and professors and professors, okay? You ask any school, they'll tell you, we need more professors, we're not able to meet, okay? So what did we want to do? Okay, so some of us, that's myself, Dr. Kumar was here, we have the others joining in to video conference from Atlanta. We have Dr. Usha Raikot from Georgia Tech. We have Ram Sriram from Georgia State. There are a couple others who are not joining us. Verghese George, a good friend of mine who's in UMass Boston. So we put our heads together and said, if professors can own the school, then perhaps we can meet this challenge. Okay? Obviously, I can't meet 95% of the demand, but whatever little demand we meet, we should be able to address it well, because if professors start the venture, they will make sure it gets done. So our vision, therefore, is to set up a national system in India of business schools. Okay? And by that we mean over the next 15 years, which is a time horizon by which I will turn 65, okay, build out a system of 25 schools across the country. Okay? And by then, hopefully, this will be the largest business school system in the world. Okay? But that will take 15 years. So the founders are, as I said, myself. I used to teach at Rutgers University till I decided that the opportunities here are much more interesting than what I was seeing in New Jersey. Okay. Verghese George, who's at UMass Boston. Kumar, who's here, who's at Georgia State. Usha Nair-Raikert, economics professor from Georgia Tech. And Ram Sriram, professor of accounting from Georgia State. We put our heads together and say, how do we address this situation? Obviously, the 5 of us are not enough to pull off such a huge venture. So what we did then to say, we need to set up the intellectual infrastructure. We don't need money, we don't need physical infrastructure. All that will come, but what we absolutely need is intellectual infrastructure. So we went and convinced another 60 plus professors, okay, to think like us, as crazily as we could think of, and got them involved. Okay. Once we got these 60 professors involved, then we went and met CXOs. Okay? So I'm going to come knock on your door, Mr. Sankaran, very soon to join our panel of advisors. So we got 20 odd CXOs to support this venture and said, you know, they will spend time. They said, we'll give you at least one full day in a year, not with me, but with my students. Okay? So then we said, if these things are done, financial resources will automatically follow intellectual infrastructure, and that seems to be happening. Okay? And thus was born the National Management School. Okay? And then we said, why don't we add something more to it? So we then got Georgia State to collaborate with us. So I'm very happy that Dean Huss is joining us over the video conference from Atlanta. Welcome, Dean Fenwick. I'm glad you're joining us this morning in spite of your busy schedule. I know this was very short notice for you. We could get this collaboration agreement going with Kumar, and so I'm glad Dean Huss is joining us. I'm going to now hand over, as it were, to Dr. Usha Nair-Raikert, who's at Atlanta, who will be the MC on that side of the table, or that side of the world, as it were. She will make the introduction of those who are there, and then the control will be handed over back to us here, where Kumar will talk about the collaboration that we have with Georgia State University. Thank you again, and welcome one and all.
What I would like to do is to run through a PowerPoint presentation briefly to talk about the motivation behind this collaboration and why this seems to be a perfect fit for National Management School as well as for Georgia State University J. Mac Robinson College of Business. So we are located in Atlanta, for those of you who might want to know. In terms of specific statistics, US News and World Report, one of the recognized authorities, ranks our program in the top 5 in the most recent year and in the top 10 for the last 13 consecutive years. And then it's been ranked as like in the top 10 in many programs, computer information system, then you have accounting, risk management and so on. So we really take pride in saying that where we have come all along and where we plan to go is even higher in the rankings with Dean Huss's support for the College of Business. The Financial Times also ranked our executive MBA program among the top 40 worldwide and top 20 in the US. Oh, sorry, you're not able to see this? I'm sorry. Now you can see this, the ranking that I mentioned. Now, in terms of the executive MBA program, also we are in the top 20 in the US. There are many roundtable forums that we are in with the CFO, the CAO, and the CMOs, the C-levels that we are there. And also in terms of ranking of faculty, the management faculty, the accounting, the information systems, and now the marketing faculty, all are ranked in the top 5 or 10. The Center for Excellence in Brand and Customer Management is a new initiative at the Robinson College of Business under my leadership, where we give a certificate of specialization in brand and customer management. Is one of its kind, and the knowledge that has been produced there makes it number 1 in the whole world in terms of the quality of the contributions and the quantity of the contributions. The telling fact for that is companies have implemented this knowledge and made over hundreds of millions of dollars year after year, and we take pride in teaching these things to the students there. Hopefully we'll also bring this cutting edge knowledge to the students in the National Management School here. The Robinson College of Business also has got this Economic Forecasting Center, which is one of the most spoken there, headed by Dr. Rajiv Dhawan, and is producing forecasts quite accurate, most accurate in fact, even over the economist in Wall Street. And the Global Partners MBA program, as Dean Huss was saying, we collaborate with many universities, and in fact the emerging markets, the BRIC countries, we call it Brazil, Russia, India, and China. So we are expanding our collaboration, and this is the first effort in India, and we hope to have this with National Management School. We are also home to 18 other research centers that we are proud of at Robinson College, and you can see the list there, and risk management is one of the notable things, ranked number 2 in the entire country, as well as the international focus that we have. All of them make us so prominent. And one thing that was not mentioned so far is that in terms of the programs, we have not only the Flex MBA, which is for the working professionals, which is highly ranked, but also we have a professional MBA, executive MBA, as well as in multiple campuses, and executive doctorate, which is something we have started in very recently, and the first batch will be this fall. So we have these kind of innovative programs targeted to the audience there, as well as the need of the marketplace, both in the US as well as worldwide. And we also have several other roundtables and intellectual leadership. And we also have this something called MAX Awards, Marketing Excellence Awards, given to companies which exemplify themselves as a role model for the practice of marketing, implementation of marketing. Year after year we have done this, and this year also it's going to be there on February 27. So why should Robinson College of Business stand out like this? If you look at their alumni, Dean Huss was mentioning we have over 70,000 executive business leaders worldwide. Some of the key names you will see are Ken Lewis, who's currently the chairman and CEO of Bank of America. We had Richard Lenny, who was the chairman and CEO of Hershey Foods, some companies you can recognize, and Mackie McDonald, who is the CEO of VF Corporation, and also ranked highly in the business journals, Wall Street Journal and other things, you see that. The endowment has been phenomenal, and the college, under the leadership of Dean Huss, has grown tremendously, bringing worldwide renowned scholars to the college, as well as increasing the professorship from 9 to 29 chaired professorships. So, and last but not the least, it's got the diverse student body from over 150 countries. This is phenomenal, that how we encourage global partnership and how we are open to this. So as National Management School grows in status and stature and in size, we look forward to collaborating with them more and more, not only on the postgraduate management program, but also as a stepping stone for the PhD students who aspire to come to the US and come through this National Management School. And we look forward to that, as well as the executive programs.
It's not always easy to be able to speak in front of someone who taught you. So, and I'm not very sure whether he's really happy that many of us who passed out of IITs and technology universities are really doing management work. So I'll have to have us on the sidelines, a dialogue with him. But given that he's committed to be in the board of this, I presume that he actually understands and appreciates that management education actually adds value even to technology research. So we will have this dialogue. But I really believe that there is a huge gap in India. I think maybe we can debate the numbers about 300,000, 100,000. But the fact is there is really a huge debate, a huge gap between the talent that is required and what is really being supplied. I'll just give you one or two statistics which I'm more familiar with. I've been working in the National Committee on CII, on the human resources and the skills area. And I think we looked at the numbers. I was told, this is the statistics that we work out. India adds about 3 million to 5 million employees every year, organized, unorganized sectors, whatever you name it. And it's expected to go up to about 10 million. And that's really, if we grow at about 7 or 8%, this will naturally happen. And one statistic which is alarming was that we actually graduate about roughly, if you take tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, every college in every street corners, about 5 to 10,000 HR managers. That's all that we graduate. So what it essentially means in India, we have one HR manager coming for every about between 500 to 1,000 employees. And if I go by that, my company has got 20 HR managers in excess. And we still don't seem to be doing a great job of our HR management, a variety of things. That just shows that there is a huge opportunity for quality education in India. There is a tremendous amount of gap. And I think I personally have benefited by the 2 years that I've spent after my engineering. There is a lot of skepticism about, MBA program. Even in the US, I think there is a lot of questioning, and I think the people are talking about, is really MBA program relevant, or are we, kind of, is MBA, are MBAs teachable, or they just become MBAs by working in. There's a lot of debate about that. But spend a lot of time, but I really believe that the kind of program, if the program is done well, it's actually very relevant. And I have seen, after even nearly 3 decades after being at the school, I find that many of the concepts that I learned, they're still relevant and they're still applicable. The only problem there is sometimes the concepts are not very well understood. So in the way we look at in industry, there is a huge gap. I think you have a very interesting kind of an idea. One is that you really made the professors commit. Usually we find the building in India first. We put glass in it so that it looks slightly nice. And then, of course, students are always available. I mean, there's always parents and parents-in-law who want to get for advancing their career in education, you have to get an MBA program. And of course, we have fairly easy accreditation, which is possible. And then you look around and say, okay, we will find the part-time professors or part-time industrial people like me who actually don't know anything about teaching, but we come and, talk about all of this. But for me, I think MBA program is quite a rigorous program. I believe that the value is in the rigor and not in just the exposure. I think that's really something which is absolutely important. And one of the things that we really look for in an MBA program, especially from the MBA students, is really good conceptual understanding, good theoretical framework, because we always tend to think that, MBA is all common sense. It's not something which can be, what you're taught in MBA programs are fairly common sense. There is no theoretical foundations or basis for that. But I really believe that what we've done in MBA programs and what is being planned and things like that, there's very strong theoretical and foundational basis. And it is these theoretical and foundational bases that if we don't learn it at that point in time, there is a huge gap. And today, I think, barring maybe the top schools in India or the few tier 1 or tier 2 colleges, really there is a huge gap. And I think the quality of education at best is patchy and at worst it is miserable. And I've seen this, and we've administered in CAI, we've administered recently tests to people who are graduated in HR, and we found to the horror that there is a huge gap in fundamentals in HR and fundamentals in this. And I think that is true. So I hope the program that you're looking at, you don't make it less rigorous. Just get people to get used to the fact that in work, it's a tough world, and you have to be very rigorous. So it is absolutely important that don't get carried away by the fact that we have exposure, we give them industrial exposure, we give them this. The second gap that I've seen, and I think this is something which has been talked about in India quite often, even at IIMs and especially IIM Ahmedabad, that is this theoretical framework that we do in the US, because most of the Indian MBA programs are largely a reflection of what really happens in the US, and the US business schools have been leading in terms of research framework. Is it really relevant? I think this is one debate which we can keep on going on, but I really believe that much of what we do in India is in businesses, at least the businesses that I run and things like that, and what I've seen, it's actually highly relevant. I think there isn't any thing to believe that the concepts that are emanating from the West are not relevant. We have to really dramatically change it. We have to have an Indian orientation to business. I'm not so sure. I think it's a nice thing to say that we have to Indianize it and indigenize it and a whole lot of things. But a lot of what is being taught in the business schools is actually relevant, provided it's taught well. And the second part, which I was quite happy to see in your thing, is that you're really talking about each professor with 3 people, right? I do hope that you really carry that through, one research associate and one teaching associate. I think the more important thing is the research associate. I think if we can really bring in 50 research associates, we can really use them effectively, because there is so much to be studied about in India which is really not being researched. I think there is a lot that you can do, a lot of rigorous research and coming to a deeper understanding of what a deeper understanding of the issues that are very relevant in India. I think please pay attention to the research associates, because research associates, I think, I know I have some good examples in my own company where we have taken some people who had spent research associateships in the Indian Institute of Management. They proved to be outstanding. So therefore, if we can really focus on the research element early on, I think you can build a niche for your schools much better than anybody else can do that. And I think the third element where I think there is a real gap is, there is a huge gap in the number of cases or the caselets that are written on India. I think India has become much larger. I think many of our businesses are global. There may be certain elements and there are cultural differences, but really Indian businesses are global. Can we really produce large number of Indian cases? If you can get your 100 professors and 50 of them who are going to be resident here, if they can write a large number of cases and adapt them. Of course, many of the cases which are written in the US business schools are highly relevant, very, very useful and thing, but we really can get that. Give a fillip to the number of Indian cases that are going to be coming. I think write a case on Ranjini Manian's global adjustment. I think you should be doing that. I think it's an outstanding example of a startup on entrepreneurship, identifying a niche and servicing the need, and exceedingly well. So I think we have incredible amount of examples. I was quite intrigued by, I didn't have time to go through your full presentation, but I saw that you have Center of Excellence on small businesses, you have Center of Excellence on entrepreneurship, and you also have a Center of Excellence on brand and customer management. I think what I'm sensing in this world, and I'm sensing that when we, see the last 10 years, there has been a lot of talk on strategy. There's a lot of talk on international business. What has happened is that some fundamental things like brands, customers have been forgotten. And today, for instance, it's extremely difficult for us to go get a very high quality marketing person who is very good in marketing. Marketing has been kind of relegated in